Konnichiwa, Doksha no Minasama, and welcome back to PJL Books. Today, on the A to Z of Japan, we are at N, and today's N is for New Year. Yeah. So this is some 40-50 days out of relevancy, I know. Well, I like to think of it as being 310 days early. Either way, this blog will always have a special connection to that time of year, because New Year, January 1st exactly, was when I started the A to Z of Japan blog. And it's also the first time I spent Christmas and New Year's in Japan, which was a big deal for me personally. But it was also a big deal nationally because it's arguably Japan's biggest holiday. But to clarify, Japanese celebrate the New Year, known as Oshogatsu, on January 1st, not to be confused with the later Chinese New Year, which comes sometime in early February. But to be honest, the date is where the similarities end with the Western equivalent, unless you count New Year's resolutions and the uncanny ability to utterly fail at them. For one thing, whereas in the West it's generally seen as something to celebrate, drink, and be merry, involving lots of, fireworks, music and clubbing, in Japan it's a much more sober affair. On the stroke of midnight, folks are most likely to be either at the family home watching TV specials or at the local shrine and temples. And it is at the shrines and temples where the true magic happens. At the temples is the ringing of a bell exactly 108 times, signifying the 108 sins of Buddhist belief. This is known as Joya no Kane. Yeah, I know, I can't even remember the classic 7 deadly sins, let alone 108. But one of them I know is sarcasm, which, is totally reasonable. And at the shrines, the thronging crowds make their first visit to a shrine at this time of year. The first shrine visit of the year is known as Hatsumode, and it's to pray for health, safety, and good fortune for the coming year. This is part of a collection of activities that count as being the firsts of the year, from seeing the first sunrise to Hatsuuri, the New Year shopping sales. The holiday itself is when Japan is at its most Japanese. The family gathers in the tatami room to eat traditional snacks and meals, most notably osechi, which is a kind of elaborate platter of foods. I actually tried osechi at the most recent New Year, where I did stay in Japan with my new in-laws. And although I'm not the biggest fan of osechi taste-wise, I must admit it does look the part. The other de rigueur stuff is mochi, which is a kind of a sticky, spongy rice cake. And what do you do while you engorge on the spread of foods? Why, you watch TV, of course. Japanese TV is pretty quiz and game show heavy at the best of times, but at this time of year it's an all-out blowout with 5-6 hour specials. The most famous one is known as Kohaku, literally red and white, named after the team colours the hordes of celebrities adorn while performing various songs. So one team is the team of boys and one team is the team of girls. I can't remember off the top of my head which one is red and which one is white. Go and look it up yourself. It's your research. The New Year season is also a prime season for sending and receiving letters and postcards to and from friends and family you forgot existed. These are known as nengajo, and just like the equivalent round-robin letters we all love to hate in the West, it's not uncommon for folks to write our great thinkwads of nengajo each year. That being said, their designs are excellent, mostly using the New Year zodiac animal sign, and it's usually presented in a cutesy style to boot. The New Year in Japan, while a more somber affair than we're used to, is still definitely worth experiencing. The country sheds its usual clash of East Meets West lifestyle for a while and becomes pure pedigree Japan. And best of all, you can actually visit the big cities like Tokyo and Osaka on these days and have no crowds. Seriously, it's like 28 days later out there, so go and enjoy it. And that's it for today's A to Z of Japan. Thank you very much for listening, readers. The written version of this blog post is on the A to Z of Japan blog itself, the link of which is in the description below, along with a link to my website and other social media, so please check them out. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Sayonara.